Hello there and welcome to my guide for painting the Traitor Commissar and Orgyn from Blackstone Fortress. First thing I did was give them a spray with some Mechanicus standard grey spray. Then I'm going to paint their trousers with Dryad bark. Their boots will be painted with Abaddon black. Any armour is going to be painted with Rhinox hide. And the silver areas are going to be painted with Iron Hand steel. Then I'm going to paint the Commissar's coat with some Gal Vorbak red. All of these areas will then receive a wash with some Nuln oil. Once that wash has dried, I'm going to do a 70-30 mix of Dryad bark and Gothor bran for the first set of highlights on the trousers, which will be followed by a 50-50 mix of Dryad bark and Gothor bran for the second highlight. I'm then going to highlight the black areas with some Corvus black, followed by a second highlight of Eshin grey. I'll highlight the armoured sections with some Catachan flesh, and then use some Wordbearer's red to start highlighting the leather coat. This will then get a second highlight with some Doombull bran. Now I'm going to use some Mournfang bran to paint straps and pouches, Rakarth flesh for the bandages around the Ogryn's wrist, Screamer pink for the inside of the hilt of the Ogryn's weapon, and then I'm going to use Retributor armor to start picking out gold details, or details that I feel like would be gold, such as the skull on the chest plate, the chaos symbol, little bits on the weapons, and the spikes. And then everything from the Mournfang bran will receive a wash with some Agrax Earthshade. Now I'm going to move back to the Mournfang bran and highlight that with a 50-50 mix of Mournfang bran and Scrag bran, followed by Scrag bran all by itself. I'm then going to highlight all the gold sections with some Uruk armor gold. To highlight the Rakarth flesh, I'm just going to give it another quick coat of Rakarth flesh, avoiding all the recesses. I'm then going to paint the cloth between the Commissar's legs, his banner, and both his weapons with Mephiston red for a little bit of a retro vibe. And these sections will receive a wash with some Carroburg crimson. Next, I'm going to start painting the flesh, and for that I'm going to use some Bugman's Glow, followed by a wash of Reikland flesh shade. Then we'll go back and neaten up the red with some more Mephiston red. Make sure you avoid all the recesses. The first highlight will be a 50-50 mix of Mephiston red and Evil Sun scarlet. The second will be Evil Sun scarlet just by itself. And the final highlight will be a 50-50 mix of Evil Sun scarlet and Wild Rider red. Before I continue with the skin, I'm going to sort out the eyes, so for that I'm going to use Abaddon black. There's also sort of gaps in the knuckles and the power fist, so I'm quickly going to paint Abaddon black as well. Going back to the eyes, we're going to use a little bit of matte white. And then finally, Abaddon black just to dot in the pupils. Now I'm going to go back to the skin, and I'm going to use some Bugman's Glow just to relayer everything and brighten things up a bit from the wash. This will be followed by a 50-50 mix of Bugman's Glow and Cadian Flesh Tone for the first set of highlights, followed by Cadian Flesh Tone by itself, and then finally a 50-50 mix of Cadian Flesh Tone and Kislev Flesh. I'm then going to paint the Ogryn's Claw with some Pink Horror, which will be washed with some Carroburg Crimson. And while that wash dries, I'm going to use some Corvus Black just to paint in the wires on the weapons and the backpack, which will be highlighted with some Mechanicus Standard Grey. Once the wash on the claw is dried, I'm going to go back and I'm going to relayer the Pink Horror, making sure I avoid all those recesses. And I'm going to give it a highlight with a 50-50 mix of Pink Horror and Fulgrim Pink. Any bones are going to get painted with some Morghast bone. And that'll be washed with some Army Painter soft tone. I'm thinking to go in and finish off the silver that I missed earlier and paint that with some Iron Hand steel. This is mostly the tips of the spikes. I'm also going to chip the armor on the Ogryn as well with a little bit of Iron Hand steel and very careful sort of dabbing. Then all that Iron Hand steel will then get washed with some Nuln oil. And while that dries, we'll relayer the Morghast bone with some Morghast bone. And then we'll highlight it with a 50-50 mix of Morghast bone and Wraith bone. And then I'm going to highlight all the silver and the gold with some Stormhost silver. And there we go, after you've based them as you want to base them, that's these guys complete. I have to say they are very fun models to paint, and I really did enjoy painting them. I'm not entirely sure what's actually got, what's taking me so long to paint these guys. All in all, they only took about 5 hours to complete for the pair, and as I said earlier, I had quite a lot of fun painting them. For the weapons, I thought I'd go for a little bit of a retro theme, and I think it's helped him stand out from the rest of the guard for Blackstone Fortress. If you follow this guide, I really do hope that it helped, and I hope that you'll think about giving a subscribe and the video a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye for now.